Today, let's discuss about Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a strife with deep historical and political roots. This conflict, steeped in historical complexities, has its origins in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The region known as Palestine, a melting pot of cultural and religious diversity, was home to a majority Arab Muslim population with substantial Christian and Jewish minorities. At the heart of the conflict lies the Zionist movement, a nationalist campaign among Jews worldwide, sparked in the late 19th century. Their goal is creation of a Jewish homeland in Palestine, the land they believed was promised to them. This movement gained momentum in the wake of increasing anti-Semitism in Europe, culminating in the horrific Holocaust during World War II, in which 6 million Jews murdered, millions more stripped of their livelihoods, their communities, their families, even their names. A pivotal moment was the Balfour Declaration of 1917, which is penned by Britain's then Foreign Secretary, Arthur Balfour. This document expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, it also promised that nothing would be done to prejudice the rights of the existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. A promise, many argue, was never fulfilled. Following the First World War, Britain assumed control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. The interwar years saw a surge in Jewish immigration to Palestine, kindling tensions with the native Arab population. The climax arrived in 1948 with the end of the British mandate and the declaration of the State of Israel. The Arab nations surrounding Israel rejected this new state, leading to the First Arab-Israeli War. The war ended with armistice agreements, but the borders were left disputed and the Palestinian refugee crisis began. Thus, the stage was set for a conflict that would span decades, shaping not only the Middle East, but the entire world. Fast forward to the present day, the conflict continues to evolve with no end in sight. The ever-changing landscape of this discord has seen some significant shifts in recent years. Let's dive into some of these developments. A noteworthy event that stirred the waters was the United States President Donald Trump's decision to move its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in May 2018. This move was seen by many as a de facto recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, despite international consensus viewing East Jerusalem as occupied territory. This decision has stoked tensions, with Palestinians claiming East Jerusalem as the capital of a future Palestinian state. Meanwhile, the issue of Israeli settlements in the West Bank has been a thorny point of contention. These settlements are considered illegal under international law, but Israel disputes this. The continued expansion of these settlements into Palestinian territories has been a major factor in escalating tensions. It's a complex issue with roots in history and implications for the future, and it's a key part of the ongoing conflict. Now, let's turn our attention to the Gaza Strip, and more specifically to Hamas. This Palestinian political and military organization has been a significant player in the conflict. It controls the Gaza Strip and has been at odds with both Israel and the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. The group's use of rocket attacks and its refusal to recognize Israel's right to exist have added another layer of complexity to the conflict. These are just a few of the ongoing developments in this long-standing conflict. Each one carries its own weight, its own history, and its own potential for future ramifications. They are intricately woven into the fabric of this dispute, shaping the present and influencing the future. These ongoing attacks by both the sides continue to fuel the conflict, with each side holding on to their claims. As we move forward, these events and their outcomes will continue to shape the trajectory of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The world watches as tension escalates, each nation with its own stance on the matter. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a disquieting chessboard, is not just a regional issue. It's a global chessboard where major powers play their strategic moves. The United States, for instance, has historically been a steadfast ally of Israel, providing it with significant economic and military aid. They've often used their veto power in the United Nations to shield Israel from international criticism. On the other hand, Russia, with its Soviet legacy, has traditionally supported Palestine, although in recent years it has sought to maintain a balance, courting both sides in an attempt to assert itself as a key player in the Middle East. On the other hand, China has been relatively quiet on this issue. They have maintained a stance of non-interference, although they have shown support for a two-state solution and have criticized Israel for its settlement policies. Israel, despite being a small nation, has one of the world's most effective military forces. Their technological prowess is a key strength with a missile defense system known as the Iron Dome that intercepts incoming threats, which saved Israel from a good number of missile attacks. They also have a highly skilled air force and are believed to possess nuclear weapons, although this has never been officially confirmed. Palestine, in contrast, lacks a conventional military force. The Palestinian resistance primarily relies on guerrilla warfare tactics. Their arsenal comprises largely of homemade rockets and small arms, most of which are smuggled in or locally produced. Israel's main arms suppliers are the United States and Germany, while Palestine's ammunition mostly comes from Iran and other sympathetic nations. In essence, the military disparity between Israel and Palestine is vast. The international community's stance on the conflict is a complex web of geopolitical interests and ideologies. This is not just a regional conflict, but a mirror reflecting the wider global power dynamics. The balance of power in this conflict is a telling sign of the wider geopolitical landscape. Imagine a full-scale war breaking out between Israel and Palestine. The repercussions would be felt worldwide. The economic impact would be immediate and far-reaching. Global markets would face tumultuous times, with potential disruptions in oil and gas supplies, causing prices to surge. This could trigger a cascade of inflationary pressures worldwide, impacting everyday lives. Politically, such a conflict would test the mettle of international diplomacy. Existing alliances might be strained, new ones might form, and the global political landscape could shift dramatically. Countries would be pressured to take sides, disrupting the delicate balance of international relations. The displacement of people, loss of lives, and the destruction of infrastructure would lead to a refugee crisis that would reverberate across continents. If you got some useful info, please like, share, subscribe. If not, any suggestions are welcome. In the end, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a complex and multifaceted issue. This conflict, deeply entrenched in history and politics, reverberates far beyond its geographic confines. As the world watches, the hope remains for a peaceful resolution to this decades-long conflict. See you in the next one.